Hey everybody, this is Randall here from Flomaton Famous. Now, part of the build that we've been doing for Maya's apartment requires a door for the bathroom. And it happens to be that we made her bathroom door 24 inches wide, and it's not framed out for a typical door because we had in mind that we were going to do a sliding barn door here. Since we have a sawmill, we're going to saw our own lumber, and we're going to build out the door utilizing this kit that we got from Amazon, Smart Standard. Open it up, and you wouldn't believe it, but there's actual 5-foot bar sliding door hardware in there. Let's go ahead and head on out to the barn. Let's pull some lumber off the rack that we already have sawn out, and let's get started on this build. All right, guys, a little update from the last scene. I had to go back and add a little extra boards on the end. So off camera, I dressed out a 4-inch board, cut it down the middle, and I have a 2-inch board on this end and a 2-inch board right here on this end. It just wasn't giving me enough room that I didn't feel like the door was being wide enough to cover the bathroom doorway properly. So we've added an extra 4 inches. It was coming out to be just about 26 inches. So we got a 28-inch door going over a 24-inch doorway, and I think I like this better. So we kind of dressed it up with edging, 2-inch edging here, 2-inch edging here. Now we're going to run a top board and a bottom board right along the tops and bottoms here. We're getting ready to flip these up on edge. I'm gonna put in dowel pins, glue the edges, glue the dowel pins in. We're gonna put them under clamps and let it dry, and then we'll be putting on, well, then we're gonna be painting it, and then we'll be putting on the hardware. All right, just to explain to you what I'm doing here is I got all the boards laid up on edges, and then I put a pencil mark between the two boards there, so that when I put my doweling jig, whenever I put my doweling jig here, I drill this hole according to this line, and then I flip over and I drill that hole according to that line, and I make sure that those two holes line up when I put my dowel pin in there. So that's the purpose of putting in these little cross marks across the boards here, to make sure that all my boards line up whenever it's time to put them all the glue joints up. Now that we have all of our dowel hole drilled out, we're going to go ahead and flip them up on the edge, put in the glue, put in the pins. While I'm waiting for the glue to dry, I decided to go ahead and put the cross boards on, and I couldn't decide whether to go 6 inches from the top or 8 inches from the top, so I'm putting it 7 inches from the top, and the same thing on the bottom. Okay, so I went ahead and dug into the kit, and I got my measurements laid out. Per the instructions, 1 9/16 from the top of the door is where you put the center of the hole. So I went to the top of the door, 1 9/16 down, decided to go over 3 inches. So got that on both sides. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and drill my holes, and then we're gonna put in the hangers with these bolts. All right, well, we've made it into Maya's apartment with the build, and so far the bar, which Maya has her antenna on right now, has holes that are exactly 16 inches apart. That's to line up with a traditional stud layout that's in a house. And I know that whenever I built this wall, that these studs are not exactly 16 inches because I didn't need them to be on this little dummy wall. So to get around that, what we're having to do is I took a 1x4 and I painted it, and we're going to screw this into the studs. I've got the handy dandy stud finder. And I'm going to locate the studs, and I'm going to screw the board into the studs. Then we're going to mount the door railing onto this board to make sure we got something solid to mount to. For all that, we've got to put our handy dandy hardware onto the door. All right, we're going to go ahead and install the barn door hardware at the top. So I'm just running the bolts and tighten them. All right, so whenever they give you the measurements for the barn hardware, they tell you how far down to drill your first hole. And it's going to give you a 2-inch clearance from the bottom of this roller to the door. And I believe the bar itself is 1.5 inches wide. So that gives you just enough clearance to hang it up onto the bar. So I just need to know the distance from the bottom of the board to where this bar needs to go. So if it's 2 inches to the roller and the door is 80 inches, the door needs to be about 82.5 inches from the ground. And I'm using my wife's tape measure because it was handy and mine's in the barn. So don't think this is my tape measure that I use every day on my projects.
Because it's real teeny tiny.
Yeah. But it's adequate for the moment. It's 82.5. Okay. Now I'll take the laser level and I'll try to shoot a line here. I gotta find my studs. I'll mark my studs, and then we will put the bar up there and
Into the wood.
Into the wood, but I want to mount my wood to the studs. That's the end of the board. My next stud's down here, so I'm not gonna hit a stud, so that's it. Most of the weight when the door is closed is gonna be right here anyway. So I feel pretty confident with all those construction screws to hold this little board up. This whole door probably only weighs maybe 20 pounds, 25. It's not that bad. Alright, now I gotta put the rail up. Alright, so we've repositioned our laser and we brought it down like 1 inch, but that'll get us about 1/2 inch off the floor. Once I get the rail mounted, then I can put the door up there. And it should give me about 1/2 inch clearance off the ground. Now that I've got the first 3 holes drilled, I just put those bolts in so that I can move down here and then draw for my next 3 set of bolts to drill. Okay, now I'll take this back down. I can drill my holes and then we can put it up for the final time. All right, so now that we've got our holes pre-drilled in the board up there, Michelle went ahead and put the stoppers on here, the bumper stops, And we'll adjust these once we get the door hanging, but that's so that the door doesn't just run right off the rails when you're sliding. So we'll adjust that later. But now we take our lag bolts, put a washer on there that goes through the front like this, and then the standoff goes on the back side with the wide end of the standoff going against the wall like that.
Oh, okay. Like a slinky.
Like a slinky. Actually, I'm going to take that one off because
Well, you have to have it on there because you're not going to be able to put it on there later.
I'm going to need help holding it even while
All right.
the first and second one's on.
All right, we're putting it up.
And the part that you actually missed was Michelle up here putting all these bolts and stuff in. But she had to put the camera down to come help me out. It's like loading the ratchet straps. That ain't going anywhere. That's solid right there.
Okay, good.
All right, let's hang the door.
Hang the door, he said.
Moment of truth.
Yay. No way. Wow. Maya, come check it out.
So just like that piece is actually going to go right there.
Yep.
Whoa!
That's where it needs to go.
Take the Allen wrench and we'll tighten that down.
Did it come with a handle?
I'll let it go off that end down there.
Don't bump him with it, Maya.
No, this is no handle included in this kit.
Okay.
And then we want it to come really good this way so you can't see from the living room or the
Right.
kitchen.
That looks good, but make sure it's not too big of a gap over
You
there.
can't see from this side either.
Okay, good.
All right, although this kit was a DIY kit, it doesn't come with a handle, but man, we are happy. I can put that anywhere I want it. It doesn't roll one way or the other because we use the laser. All in all, for the cheapest kit on Amazon, I'm extremely happy with how this turned out. I think we paid in the $30 range for this kit.
That's right.
These boards were cut from a dead tree that my mom had planted whenever I was a little boy. But the beetles killed it, so cut it down. We sawed it out on our sawmill. So there's a little bit of history behind the pine that's in this door and the pine that's on her shelves because it's all the same wood. But we milled this out about 3 years ago, and it's been sitting in the lumber rack drying for at least 3 years. So it should be good and stable. And hope you enjoyed the video. Like, share, subscribe. Remember, keep growing, keep building, and always keep adventuring. Together, we're Flumpton Famous. We'll see you on the next one.